Look, y'all, the Carolina Panthers have selected their number 8 overall pick, and it was Teteroa McMillan. What do we think? I gotta let y'all know, but welcome into the Keep Prowling podcast. I'm your host, DJ Bill, and I'm back again. It's draft time, so a lot of new faces coming to Carolina, coming to Charlotte very, very soon. But the first one was Teteroa McMillan, the receiver out of Arizona, who is a big body receiver, all right? 6'4", 219 pounds, a guy who can go up and get the football, a guy, there was always this meme of, I'm just gonna let it fly. He down there somewhere, he up there somewhere. McMillan is the perfect guy for that. But how does he fit into the Carolina Panthers offense, the Carolina Panthers scheme? It's very interesting. I feel like there's no way to lose in this situation, is it? Because you get a guy who I think the biggest question mark on him is route running. But you get a guy you can pair with Adam Thielen, an excellent route runner, a guy who's been around, been here, he's been there, he's done that, and you can pair him with him, and I think that's one of the biggest pros to this pick is there's not a lot of pressure on McMillan to start right away, right? Whereas last year, you come into the draft and you pick, you trade up to go get Xavier Legette. You trade up that one pick to get Xavier Legette, and it was almost immediately that you had to start him because you just didn't know where your talent lied. You knew you had Adam Thielen, but after that, you didn't really know. Now I feel like McMillan is coming into a more sure wide receiver room. I mean, you got Jalen Coker, you got David Moore, of course, you got Adam Thielen, you got Xavier Legette, and then you add in Teteroa McMillan, and it's almost, how can I put this? I feel like McMillan gives you something that the Panthers don't have, right? Which I felt like that. I felt the same way about this with Xavier Legette, but I feel the same way this year about McMillan. He's the second receiver taken, right? You could arguably say he might have been the first receiver taken, depending on if Travis Hunter is going to play wide receiver or cornerback coming up this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But for him to be the number 2 guy taken, he's a big body guy. The only thing you worry about is route running, but imagine being able to be in the locker room, be on the practice field, be kind of holding the clipboard, so to speak, with Adam Thielen being in front of you and being able to learn from that guy. And you never know how long Adam Thielen has left, not only in the league but in Carolina too. And because of that, you kind of like are setting yourself up to have a guy who can take his place when Adam Thielen decides to hang it up, because obviously Adam Thielen has shown time and time again that he is the guy that you went and grabbed him for. And, to add McMillan into this wide receiver fold with Jalen Coker, with David Moore, and also with Xavier Legette, it just really makes things very, very interesting. And a lot of people felt like that the Carolina Panthers were going to go defense, right? Because last year we talking about one of the league's worst defenses. We talking about a team that felt like they couldn't stop anything, and they also lost some players on defense. Shaq Thompson, I think, is the most notable one that we think of, but re-signing J.C. Horn, and shoring up the secondary once again, shoring up the interior defensive line as well. I think the Panthers have shown, an aggressiveness to the defensive end in free agency, so that way that can make this pick possible. So, I mean, realistically, coming into this, I know one of McMillan's biggest draft comparisons was Drake London, Mike Evans, and, when you think about those two guys, especially if you think about the latter, where you think about, because I think Drake London still has a lot to prove, but Mike Evans, when you think about him, Hall of Famer, has been very, very consistent. If you can get anything close to what Mike Evans has done, if you can get 60 to 75% of what Mike Evans has done, because he has a one-of-a-kind Hall of Fame career, then, you definitely made the right pick, especially if you want to do comparison's sake. But I think realistically, I think this is a good pick for the Carolina Panthers. I honestly think that it's a good pick because there's not a lot of pressure on McMillan starting out, and I think that's good. I think there was a lot of pressure on Legette last year starting out, and it's not to say that pressure got to him, but at the same time, he's a rookie, so you kind of expect the pressure to be too much every so often for a rookie. So him coming into his second year, Jalen Coker, who broke out last year, David Moore, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Of course, you still got Chuba Hubbard in the backfield. You're still hoping to continue to build on this offensive line, continue to build on Bryce Young's confidence. I think this could be possibly one of those kind of steal moments, right? Because there was a lot of people felt like that the Panthers were going to trade this pick and try to stock up on some picks and grab some guys. But I think realistically, I've heard a couple people say, maybe you go for that kind of splash draft pick at number 8, and then you continue to build the defense later, right? Or maybe you continue to build the offensive line and the defense later, right? Later in the draft with the rest of your picks. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how McMillan fits into this offense. I'm very excited. I know you guys are very excited. Let me know down below what you guys think. If you are watching on the YouTube version or any of the social media versions, let me know what you guys think down below about Tetairoa McMillan being the newest Carolina Panther. Should have went a different direction? Maybe. Who knows? But will it work out? Let me know down below. But I'm going to see you guys on the next episode of the Keep Prowling podcast as we get closer and closer to football, really. Closer and closer to football, closer and closer to what we've been waiting on. The draft is that one step. Then you got training camp, but of course, the fans won't be able to be there, so that's kind of unfortunate. But it's still going to be a lot of fun. It's still going to be a lot of fun coming up in the next couple of months as things start to get finalized and the season starts to get closer to being underway. But we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Keep Prowling podcast. I definitely hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, Keep Prowling podcast is on all major podcasting platforms, so check us out there. And this has been the Keep Prowling podcast.